The following presentation was made at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee for the CALLERLAB 16th Annual Convention 1989.
I guess we're about ready to start, so here comes our man with the one more jump cord we've been waiting for, and we'll have that in just still got a minute. He's on the dead run.
Hey, I ran those stairs twice. The cord I grabbed first.
Now, if Steve's ready over there, is the tape turned on? Okay. You realize we're going to be making a tape here today, and that is really of prime importance, so we have to be sure that we get anything that we do on this tape. So maybe sometimes we'll kind of lose the continuity of what we're doing because we're going after that, trying to get it on the tape. But basically, we're here to have some fun and maybe learn a little something at the same time. We've got some things put together to do here today, and it's kind of funny how when technical problems get a little bit sticky, how things get harder, you know, and you kind of lose your cool, you might say. We're just going to go ahead and get this thing started, just for the fun of it, and to really get this thing going. Let's do a little exercise in song where you can all kind of loosen up and work off a little bit of that dinner. It's no really big deal, but it's, again, before we do this, I'm going to explain what we're doing. It's not a thing that's hard to come by. This little song that I do, if any of you people have got grandkids, why this particular thing is on the We Sing Silly Songs. You know, they're out there, they're right around. You've all got them in your homes. This one is just kind of fun to do, and it goes like this. But I'm going to have your help, and your part is very important. It says, we waded in the water till she got her feet all wet. She waded in the water till she got her feet all wet. She waded in the water till she got her feet all wet, but she didn't get her wet yet. That's your part. You get on them claps, okay? Are we ready? I think we kind of got the motion going here, so you kind of know what we're going to do. Oh, she waded in the water till she got her feet all wet. She waded in the water till she got her feet all wet. She waded in the water till she got her feet all wet, but she didn't get her wet yet. You do the clapping, I'll do the singing. She waded in the water till she got her ankles wet. She waded in the water till she got her ankles wet. She waded in the water till she got her ankles wet, but she didn't get her wet yet. She waded in the water till she got her knees all wet. She waded in the water till she got her knees all wet. She waded in the water till she got her knees all wet, but she didn't get her wet yet. She waded in the water till she got her thighs all wet. She waded in the water till she got her thighs all wet. She waded in the water till she got her thighs all wet, but she didn't get her wet yet. She waded in the water and she finally got it wet. She waded in the water and she finally got it wet. She waded in the water and she finally got it wet. Oh, she finally got her bathing suit wet yet. Yeah, all right. Okay. Well, that's just kind of a little bit to loosen us up a little bit. Again, like I say, it's going to try to be a fun sort of a day. Before we start, I want to introduce these two fellows who are up on the stage looking very eager to go. And over here to my right is a gentleman that really needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. Put it like that. Marshall Flippo from Abilene, I believe, some of the time. Abilene, Texas. Marshall Flippo from Abilene, Texas. Now, Marshall here, a lot of you know Marshall, and you know, you hear things that sometimes aren't true. And I heard something one day that I truthfully don't think it's true. A guy told me that Marshall got into square dance calling because he was fired from his previous job. They said he was an elevator operator and he couldn't figure out the route, you know, so... But I don't believe that. Because, you know, actually, I know why he got into the calling entertainment business. Marshall one day he was attending a church, and no laughs on that, Marshall. But he was attending church, and while he was in church, when we started, the pastor got up and stood up and he said, "I am the pastor of this church. I make $300 a week. That is not enough." Well, the assistant pastor was sitting over there alongside, and he thought, "Hey, hot dog, that guy's got something going for him." So he jumps up and he says, "I am the assistant pastor of this church. I make $200 a week. That is not enough either." Well, the organist was sitting back there, and boy, he's kind of getting with this thing, and he's seen what was going on, and he says, "I am the organist of this church. I make $500 a week, and there's no business like show business." And so that's kind of the way it goes, but and that was great, except you know that day at the church, the pastor just gave a real good sermon. He just laid it right out. You know, he said, you know, there are actually 747 different types of sin. That was kind of an interesting comment, but I was embarrassed when Flippo went up after the service to get the list, you know. And that. Okay, Mr. Helt. Mr. Jerry Helt. From, let's see, Cincinnati, Ohio. Long-term guy that we all know. And it's truly a pleasure to get to work with you. It really is. We've never even done a panel or anything together since this will be our first time. And I was real pleased when I drove up to the hotel that Jerry come running out there and says, "Hi, Norm, glad to see you, glad to get here." And I just pulled in the parking lot, and I said, "Hey, Jerry, I got a problem. I just about got hit back here where I turned off the street. I'm not very sure my signal light is working." I said, "Would you check it for me?" He said, "Sure." Looked over the fender and says, "Yep, nope, yep, nope." Think about that. Okay. He also told me after we got to visit a little bit that he had some problems on the way down. And he was driving along and going down the road and heard this whompity, 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 whomp. And I says, "Well, what in the world happened?" He says, "I had a flat tire." And I says, "Oh, is that what you do?" He says, "I got out." And he says, "I changed the tire." And he says, "Got back in the car and I was going down the road and heard this whompity, whomp, whompity, whomp, whompity, whomp." I said, "Son of a gun, had another flat tire?" He says, "Nope, changed the wrong tire." So, but it's like I say, it's going to be fun to work with him. I know he's a little bit impatient sometime. We was down here having breakfast in the restaurant the other day, and things were going kind of slow, and this waitress went by and he says, "Hey, miss," he says, "are my pancakes going to be long?" She says, "Nope, they're going to be round just like everybody else's." But anyway, that's enough foolishness for this start, but it's going to be fun. You guys are going to have a good time. We're going to try to fill up your time, get a little information on how some things are done, and we'll carry right on. Just a little bit to set this thing up about the after parties. After parties are, what do we say, the frosting on the special events, something a little bit more to make it something other than just another square dance, things that we do just to kind of put a little spice in it. And I believe when we call a dance, as I'm sure you all believe, that when I call a dance, the dancers are entitled to my best effort, my best singing calls, my best choreography, and I give them the whole thing every time. And I think that kind of pretty much holds true with the philosophy of the after party. So many of us, and we're all very, very guilty of this, just move along, and when the after party gets there, we say, "Golly, it's after party time. What you got, Joe? You got something to do tonight?" And we just wing it, and we have some wonderful after parties that are just done by winging it. I fully believe that if we will go ahead and plan and prepare and do a little work, we can make it an after party that your dancers are going to actually give up doing something else and come to your weekend to dance because they want to see the after party. They want to be there for the fun that goes on afterwards. After parties have some real positive things that that I see, and that is that especially if you have a first night after party, and if you get a couple little things going, it builds on your weekend. Some stupid little stunt or something just makes your weekend fly, because it keeps coming up again and again and again as a cute story you hear, and everybody uses that as their punchline for the weekend. That's a real positive thing to an after party. All the things that we do in after parties are around. Most of the things that we do here today, when we get to plan with them a little bit, are things that you have done, you have seen, you have heard of. Although they are done and you've heard them, each time that somebody else puts it on in front of a group or gets the people to participate in it, it's a whole new show. It's a whole new ball game. So just all this information is out there, and it's your job to research it, search it, steal it, whatever you want to do to get some of this material, and go right ahead and get some ideas and make it a great after party. A few quick thoughts on this before we move on. My philosophy of an after party would be that, number one, that it's quick moving. We don't want to let it drag. We want to get it done. We don't want to do one skit and then about 5 or 10 minutes later get another one organized and do that. We want to have something going on as much as we can all the time. Variety. Use all the gamut of things that are available, a little bit of each. Spot them through there so that you can get them going and get some variety going. Big item. Clean. Basic rule, I guess, on any of the things we do in an after party of a mixed group of people is that if you wonder if you should use it, you probably shouldn't. That's kind of a philosophy. We also know that we're living in 1989. We also know that a lot of probably some of the cutest little stories we do that will tickle all of us about the best might have a slight sexual connotation, might even have a slight, heaven forbid, ethnic connotation. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. In our country, we are from a very, very rich Norwegian heritage in our country. Most of the people in my area are second or third generation from the Scandinavian countries. Yeah, we tell Norwegian jokes. And I am reminded of something that Will Rogers said. They said, how can you get away with telling these jokes? You're all familiar with the kind he told me, always satires somebody. He says, well, if there's no malice in your heart, how can there be malice in your jokes? And I think we all got to think about that. And Will Rogers in the same statement said, we all got to quit taking ourselves so darn seriously. It's just great just to have fun. So that's again, if we do some little thing that might embarrass you just a little bit, or you think, hey, he kind of picked on me a little bit because my mom was a Norwegian or something like that, and my mom was any other group. There's nothing done in any of these things with any malice whatsoever. Short. Big important part of an after party. Do a bunch of things and quit. Send them home wishing the after party was going to go on for another 10 minutes. And that's always a big item as far as I'm concerned. Categorize. When you talk about quick moving, it's the MC's job to make this thing quick moving. It's his job to keep this thing going. He should have in his little portfolio a bunch of the little foolish stories, just little things, just to keep some activity going while the other guy's getting ready. And that's the MC's job. He can use just about anything he can do. And if you plan it just the slightest little bit, I find that if I stick the punchline of 4 or 5 stories in my pocket, when I go to a weekend or something, the guy can pull them out and you got your whole thing there. You remember those stories if you remember the punchline. Variety again. There's many, many different kinds of things that we use. And one of the things that we do use is the sing-alongs. We just did one. Kind of fun. No big deal. No big deal. Kind of fun. Loosen us up a little bit. You can take any of them. We know that Bob Howell is sitting over here. I think he does wonderful things, and he's got a whole bunch of those things he does. And you've got a bunch of different little things. But you can get people singing anything, and they're going to kind of get a kick out of it. So just any little thing, find something to be fun to sing and sing it. and pick up on it. The skits covers a big area when you say skits. Anything that is pretty much a performance up on the stage or something like I would call a skit, or whether you have the other one we've got is the audience participation thing. But when I think of a skit, I think of a couple people do a little scene. And most of the skits that I do and that Clarice and I do are some little cute story somebody told me somewhere back along the line. And you've all heard the story too, probably. But if you do it in a skit, it makes it a little cute, a little funny. So the skits would be working like that. Contests and games falls into the series of things, the other category, where you get some people up on the stage and you pass the orange or you put the spoons down the front, the whole series of things that you can do. The other cute little skits that we've seen around, and we'll be talking about some of them. Pantomimes and lip syncs. Now, somehow or other I got into this thing a few years ago. I do a few little lip syncs. I'm not good at it, but my dancers think it's great, and that's good enough for me. If they say, "Hey Norm, what you doing this weekend?" when I get there, that's important to me. I know they're liking that. So we'll do one of those little things for you to show what they are and talk about it a little bit. Again, like I said, well-told stories are always fun. Fill up the time with the well-told stories. Of course, there's one other thing that I say as it can be an after party, and that's heaven forbid, talent. You know, if somebody happens to have some talent, use it. If a guy plays a wonderful fiddle, and give him a little fiddle. They like that. That's fine. Just any little thing that you put in there to make this a little better sort of a thing. So that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about. Let's see. As far as the clean skits, we talked about that. Short, again, we also talked about that. Well, gang, we have an hour and a half, and we've already used up several minutes of it. So we're just going to kind of get going here. And at this time, I'd like to ask Jerry to come up over, take the mic for a while, and talk about his philosophy a little bit, do a little some of his things, and we'll move on and just kind of keep rolling that way. Okay?
Thank you, Norm. I guess he's fair game now, isn't he?
You bet. You bet.
Anybody know what a Norwegian pacemaker is?
Good.
Took care of you. Okay. I guess Flippo's next. Names, they always play with my name because it's Helt, H-E-L-T. H is for heterosexual, E is for easy, L is for lovable, and T for terrific. I looked at Flippo's name. Wish I had a name like Marshall Flippo. I can see it now. M.F. That's the kind of joke not to use, folks. F, I'm trying to think. F is for, fun. Fun. And the L is for lovable, of course. And P is for patient, right? And the other P is for perceptive. O is for outstanding. Right? How about a little hand from Marshall? Sure. I sense in this group that our applause is very, very weak today. So we're going to have a little exercise on applause, if you will, please. Some people are going to sleep over here. I notice they're having a little nap on the side. I'm going to do a little exercise here. When I cross my hands like this, when they cross, I want you to clap for me. Could you put your hands in the air, everybody? Let me give you a little test. Ready? And... Very good. Give yourselves a nice hand. Very good. Would take your... oh, come on. Come on. God, I thought I'd stroked out, folks. Lights are out. Would everybody put your hands up in the air? Old Chinese proverb, many hands make light work. Would, this happens to be my right hand, but would you take your right hand, double your thumb like so, and then put your finger in here like this? Can you do that? You got that? Take the other hand and do the same thing. Put the thumb in here like this. Put the two together and extend the two fingers like this and work it like this. E.T. phone home. This would probably be under the heading of an after party or entertainment. And if you've ever worked a one-night stand or where you have people sitting, and for example, if you go out to entertain a group of people and they want you to square dance and they've had a big meal and they've had a lot of wine and they're sitting at the tables and the guy says, now we'd like to introduce our caller for the evening, Freddie Fuddparker, and he's here and he's going to teach us dance. And I look out and all these people relax. Now, how do you get these people going? How do you stimulate those people? And the same thing at an after party. How do you do it? Let's do a little exercise. How many here are familiar with sit square dancing? Sit, Marshall. Sit square dancing. Let me check the music here.
You got the technician back there?
Yeah. Oh, that'd help, wouldn't it?
Did you get...
Everybody join hands, circle to the left, lean to the left. Just join hands right there, lean to the left, okay? Circle to the right. Circle to the left. Clap your hands, you know how to do that. Stomp your feet. Very good. Stomp your right foot. Clap your hands. Stomp your left foot. Clap your hands. Clap your knees. Put your hands in the air. Clap your hands. Clap your neighbor's hands. Clap your knees. Clap your neighbor's knees. Everybody, slap your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Roll it around. Tap your right big toe inside your shoe. Join hands, circle left. Circle right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Put your hands in the air and circle again. Left, right, left. Lean forward. Make a right hand star. Left hand star. Two hand star. Clap your hands. Clap your knees. Stomp your feet and clap your hands. And give yourselves a nice hand. All right. I think every caller is probably a frustrated entertainer. And I like magic tricks. And Bob Howell taught me this trick. If it bombs, Bob, it's yours, baby. And at an after party, I'm looking for things that I can get up. Somebody says, oh, you're here, you're calling the dance. And on the way to the dance, they say, oh, you'll be helping out at the after party. What can you do for us? And if you don't have props, you've got some real problems. And I've got just a couple props here. And this is kind of a tricky, it's a tough trick to do, actually. I have a show white scarf. Okay, here it is. And my hands will never leave my body at any time. See the scarf on both sides, okay? And I have here the black scarf, okay? See the black scarf, and here, okay? And I have a brown paper bag. brown paper bag. And if you'll look, there's nothing in the bag. Nothing up my sleeves. Watch carefully now. We put the white scarf in the bag, right? Want to see it? It's there, okay? And you didn't see it? Okay? Satisfied? I don't want to trick you. Here's the black scarf in the bag, okay? Whoops, here we go. They're both in the bag, okay? It's all in the bag. I'm going to close it. Shake it. Watch carefully now. Tricky. It happened. The white scarf is now black. The black scarf is now white. Good? Woo! What an audience! What an audience! We'd like to do some audience participation. And I know if you're having a theme night, or it's St. Patrick's Day, or it's Christmas, or it's Hanukkah, or it's Easter, or whatever it may be, it's always nice to do something along those lines. And with the help of Kathleen, stand up, Kathy. Oh yeah, there she's standing up. Let's take the first 8 people off of this row. And the first 8 people off this row, you think you're going to get out of this, don't you? You're sitting there half asleep. It's time to wake up, sweetheart. And let's bring those folks up on the floor. Just come up and line up and face the audience, if you will. You're going to be part of our little experiment here. And let's bunch them up segregate them into little groups of 4. 4 people in a row with a ho, ho, ho. Okay. We got a little green construction paper for each person there. Now, start with the red here, Kath. Okay. And we'd probably do this with just 4 people or 5 people. So we're going to extend it a little bit. And we have picked talented, artistic people today. Okay? These are talented, artistic people. Now, with the group over here on my left, the 4 down here, what do you got? Yeah. Would you look at your green paper and with your brain and your mind visualize a beautiful, beautiful pine tree or a Christmas tree or Hanukkah bush, whatever. Would you visualize that for me? Good. And just think about that a little bit. Get that impression in your mind. Okay? The group right in front of me, now we've got a problem here because we've got Californians, but I think at this point Californians know what snow is. You had a little shot of that out there this year. So think snowflake. You know, snowflakes are different designs, and snowflakes are gorgeous. And burn an image in that. The next group right here, think of Valentine's Day. Beautiful hearts, sweethearts, lovely hearts. Visualize that. Okay? And what are you laughing at, Kath? What are you laughing at? You're laughing at these people. The last group down here, think of a shamrock. St. Patrick's Day is Shamrock Day. And what we'd like you to do right now, folks, is take this paper and put it behind you. And keep it behind you. And with your own 2 little artistic hands, tear a heart, rip a heart out, or a shamrock. Now, wait a minute. Don't get started now. Don't get nervous, sweetheart. You woke up, didn't you? We got the Christmas trees down here, the Hanukkah bushes. We got the snowflakes here. We got the hearts here. And we have the shamrocks down here. Get on your mark. Get set, ready, and tear. But don't show it when you get it done. Drop the droppings on the floor because John's going to clean it up. Sorry that you don't have this in the back side, John. It's very interesting back here. Now, it may be appropriate. Come on, John, get some shots of this, man. It looks like the garbage day. It is very appropriate if you're doing the Shamrock deal to do some Irish music, of course. If you're doing the heart thing, do a sweetheart song. The Snowflake, you can do all kinds of snowflakes. Christmas Tenenbaum is a good tune for that. And we're just doing just wonderfully here. One looks like the map of Rhode Island. And when you're finished, just to hold the phone here. We got one over here. She's really doing a number on it. Oh, my goodness gracious. Get a shot of that, John. Okay, I think, are we pretty much ready now? She's still tearing her... One's ripping his heart out over here. Are we all set? Okay, hold it right there. Let's start down here with the Hanukkah bush, the Christmas tree. Present your trees, folks. How about that? And the snowflakes. Swiss cheese and all. And the sweethearts. Last but not least, the Shamrocks. Let's give those folks a nice round of applause. Thank you very much. Just leave the garbage on the floor. The hotel will fix it up. Thank you.
Oh, okay. That's a little sample of some of the things you do. Again, what we're doing is trying to show how you can do things like this. It takes very little props, very little material of any kind. And I'm just about ready to turn it over to Marshall to do something for us and talk to you a little bit. We're going to do a series of things, and they've done it already, a lot of them without any props whatsoever, and they're wonderful. And it's so nice to have a bunch of these things in your bag of tricks, because every once in a while you're called upon to do this thing without any props at all. The one thing I will say about props and costuming, we're going to do just a little bit of that here. If we do get into using some props and some costuming, I'll say one thing, in that every bit of effort you put into costuming will come back many-fold if you get to doing some foolish little things. The dancers, for some reason or other, seem to love having us do something foolish, and I appreciate that. And there's the whole route you can go, and we won't go very deep into it. But oftentimes, if you're doing a weekend, it's no problem to throw the little costume. We've got a suitcase in our closet that's got all this garbage in it, and it just goes along. And we didn't bring hardly anything today, so we're going to have to use a little imagination some of the time. And that the imagination is fine. You can do skits without any costumes. But I'm saying that if you do put the ounce of effort into it, you're going to get a pound of return from the people. So with that, I'll just turn it back over to Flippo and let him do his thing, and I'll get ready to, Clarice and I'll get ready, and we'll do one after that uses a little bit of costuming and a little bit of just a simple skit with a little costume, and we'll see how it works out. Mr. Flippo, you want this one or that? First thing I did was give him a choice, you know.
Oh, well, I think we're going to go from talent to no talent here at all. All I've got is a couple of things that, one of them's a pantomime thing, and another thing, Jerry's going to, is there a wig over? We don't have a wig, got a hat. Give me a hat. You'll have to realize I'm supposed to have a wig on, or at least use somebody that's got hair. And, seems odd. This is, well, I'll let Jerry, you realize I'm supposed to have boxing gloves on and all that stuff there.
Ladies and gentlemen, from WKRP, Cincinnati, Ohio, this is Harry Helt, and we have with us today on our sports broadcast that famous heavyweight. Here he is, Rocky. What's your name?
Let's see. You screwed up my first line. Let's see. Name. Let's see. Name. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Rocky, man.
Thank you. Rocky, how many fights have you had?
200.
How many fights have you lost?
200.
Rocky, how do you explain that?
Can't win them all.
Rocky, I want to ask you, what's the first thing you think about when you crawl into the ring?
Getting out.
I'm going to ask you some personal questions here, Rocky. And maybe you don't want to divulge this, but what's your trickiest punch?
My trickiest punch is my left hook. Left hook.
So what's so tricky about that?
I use my right hand.
Rocky, some fighters have beat up noses, but yours looks okay.
Yeah, I had it fixed.
What was wrong with it?
It was up here.
Easy, boy. You've been fighting in this country for quite a while. Tell me, did you ever fight abroad?
Huh?
I mean overseas.
Oh yeah, I fought it. Yeah, I fought over in Europe. I fought.
Who did you take with you on that trip?
Well, I took my daddy and my mother and my 6 kids and my sisters and brothers and my girlfriend.
Page 2. Didn't you take your wife?
No, she don't like my girlfriend.
Why not? Why not? Oh, excuse me. While we're talking about your family, do you come from a large family?
Yeah, a large family. I got 12 sisters. No, let me see. I believe it's 12 sisters and 12 brothers.
My goodness. What did your father do?
I don't know what it is, but he better quit.
Are any of the rest of your family into sports?
Oh, yeah, I got a sister who's a good sport.
Is she a professional?
Not if she likes the guy.
Rocky, tell me something about your wife.
My wife's a twin.
How do you tell them apart?
Brother's about 3 inches tall and got a mustache.
Rocky, I'm sure a lot of the folks out here would like to know, but could you describe your wife for the folks out here?
Yeah, my wife's like a bird. She sings like a bird, walks like a bird, talks like a bird.
Well, where is she anyhow?
The cat ate her.
Meow. Rocky, let's get back to some questions about the fight game. Why do you wear a mouthpiece?
That's to muffle my screams.
By the way, Rock, who taught you to fight?
Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis, Jack Dempsey, Elizabeth Taylor, and hurry up.
What'd you learn from Elizabeth Taylor?
A lot more than I did Rocky Marciano.
Say, is Rocky your nickname?
Rocky's nickname.
Oh, what's your real name?
Our real name is Quits.
Quits.
Well, that's a funny name. How'd you get that name? How'd you get a name like Quits?
Oh, when I was born, my dad looked down at me, looked at Mama, and shook his head and said, "Let's call it quits." Sir, what a fancy footwork. Push like a fairy, the whole place goes to pieces. You know, and the whole thing, the lyrics are cute, and the problem is that unless you turn the sound up, the dancers can't hear the lyrics. So you have to have a real good quality tape and a good sound.
Yeah. But it goes over well. We've done it 3 times, and after the last time he said it's retired. I'm not dressing up as a fairy anymore, and I won't do the fairy's part, so that leaves it out.
Wayne, a big hand. Thank you very much. Just a couple of things that you can. A lot of pantomimes you can do. I think if they're done well, they go over well. Even if they're not done so well, they go over pretty well. And on that particular skit, you need about 6 or 7 pirates back there, and they, I don't know, you can have their shirts off, big guys, you know, and with patches on their eyes, and that skit goes pretty good. And there's some real neat things that you can find, and I think the funnier you can make them, probably the better they are. Here, Norm, come get this thing. Oh, you want it? It says give it to Helt. Is there a number on the tape? Let me see, where's that tape? Yeah, it says Frank Lane. It's Ray Stevens' pirate. What's Wayne? You remember? He looks like General MacArthur. He's got a brand new tape out now. It's got Julio Iglesias on it that I saw him do on television. He had a dummy sitting on his knee. And you could actually, instead of the dummy, you could actually use a real person. Yeah. So somebody will be coming up with that skit. It'll be a good one. Let's see. Here's Mr. Jerry Helt.
Thank you. I like that skit. Yeah. Thank you. How about a hand for Flippo? Yeah. This is a bar scene skit, and I happen to be the bartender, and it's I'm at the bar, and it's a real slow night, and I look out, and here comes a Skid Row bum with his dog. And the bum approaches the bar.
I'd like a beer.
Says right here, give me a beer.
Give me a beer.
Wait a minute. Have you got any money to pay for this beer? Oh, God, that dog's got bad breath.
I need a mic. I don't have any money. I can't seem to find any money, but this is a special dog. He's a talking dog. We'll pay for a beer maybe by having him talk.
God, this dog's got bad breath.
How about a beer?
Who you trying to kid? Come on.
My dog is very thirsty, so am I. And he can really talk. He answers questions.
Okay. If your dog can talk, the beer's on the house, okay? Is that fair enough?
Fair enough. Right here. I've got a dish. All I need is some beer poured in the dish.
My assistant bartender pours the beer in the dish.
That looks pretty empty. Let's put some beer in there.
Oh, there we
He's
go.
going to talk. He needs some beer. All right. Now, I suppose you want to hear him talk.
Yes.
Okay. Fido, Rover. What do you call the brown part on a tree? It's got green up above, but the brown part that goes around the bottom.
Bark, bark, bark.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You got to do better than that. Come on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's try this question. What do you call the part of a house, very top of the house, that goes in a peak? What do you call that?
Rough, rough, rough.
All right.
Come on. I can't buy that. What are you trying to pull? Get out of here. We don't want you around here.
Well, give us one more chance. Rover, who was the very best baseball player of all time?
How can I do it with no ear?
Best baseball player of all time.
Ruth.
There, see?
Oh, come on. Get your dog. Get out of here. Get the dog out of here. Get the bum out of here. Out.
No beer.
Was it DiMaggio?
Let's give him a nice hand. Yes, very good. Woo! Here, Fido. Here, boy.
Well, again, it goes to show that don't take any talent whatsoever. And that was just a little story that Clarence and I heard one day, and I said, hot dog, that'd be kind of fun to do that. And we could have bought a $12 dog mask costume and did the whole thing, but this was a little old piece of beard we had laying in the house. We cut that in two and bought the $2 set of noses and just went ahead and did a little story. And it's just that kind of thing you can do. And you hear these stories every day. There's just many of them. If you think about them with that gleam in your eye, you know, that you think it'd be fun to do that, you can make a good skit out of that kind of a story. Well, let's see. I was going to do one little pantomime thing. We're doing all right. We got a half hour yet, right? You bet. We go until 3 o'clock. So we got a lot of fill-up time to do. So you get your minds going. You fill up a little time, and I'll get organized here and get ready to do this one. Yeah.
The one thing I do say, when we do lip syncs, it's fun to work behind a microphone. It makes it a little more realistic because then the whole thing is to try to portray the image that you are actually doing this thing. And so, although, like Flip says, sometimes the mistakes are fun too, and that adds to the fun because it's a fun party. But in the same respect, if you're trying to do a pretty good job, try to make it look as realistic as possible, it makes your lip syncs just a little bit better. And I know that Gene Trimmer was a great one, and a lot of you saw Gene Trimmer work. And in Gene Trimmer's books, he always says, if you're going to do a lip sync, do a good job. You know how Gene was, the guy that we all knew real well and loved and missed. But he said, practice it, to do it. And the one thing about a lip sync, as the gentleman back here will come running up, and that's a very, very good point. Once you learn it, you've got it. It's not going to go away. You hear that music and you can go right into the thing because you've pretty much learned that thing. And you can be very, very close. And the ones that you do get a little bit off on, you know, you can be that far off and it'll always keep you right up to date on what the story's going. Okay, we'll get ready for this one.
There should be a warning label on after parties that it can be hazardous to your friends. And I think Frank Lane will vouch for that. He had a little incident down in Kirkwood one time that blew him away where someone come up and said, I've got a terrific idea for you. It's something, blah, 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 blah. And Frank bought it, and he probably regrets it maybe to this day, right? So when some little lady walks up and says, ooh, I've got the nicest little story I'd like to tell, and you don't hear that story, and she gets on the stage, she can be a garbage mouth, and you may offend a lot of people. And I don't think you want to have an after party where it's offensive. I told Flip, I mentioned this story this afternoon, I'll repeat it for those of you that are in the other session. I told Flip a story. I said, we were here at one of the CALLERLAB conventions, and for dessert, they had this beautiful vanilla ice cream with a little cookie on the side, and as they brought mine to my place, I looked, and there's a fly on the top of it. And I called the waitress over, and I said, what's this fly doing on my dessert? And she says, can I help it? He likes winter sports. Now, I told Flip the joke, and Flip got it mixed up, and he says, I was at CALLERLAB, and I got my dessert with a little cookie, and I called the waitress over, and I said, what's this ice cream doing on my fly? So, you may laugh, but that may be very offensive to a lot of people. I would not use that joke with people. I think you're going to get them sort of scrambled a little bit. I probably have the filthiest mind. I'm a joke collector, and I collect all kinds and whatever, and I like to be able to get up in front of a group and keep it clean and keep it up and above board, which reminds me of an old-time joke for some of you folks that have danced maybe old-time dancing. Carl Giel's out here. He's involved in that, or has been and probably still is, and some of the other folks here. At an old-time dance, the fiddler was the caller, and the fiddler, he supplied the music and everything, and this is back in the days of horse and buggies, and everybody would drive in their horse and buggy and go out to the old-time barn dance, and there was the old fiddler up there, and maybe a piano, whatever, and they're playing music, and everybody brought a little something in their wagon, and if they got up and danced and ran out of steam, they'd go out to the wagon and have a little steam to help them out a little bit. This is back in the old days when they indulged in a little bit of beverage at the dance. So this old boy, he's dancing away, and he feels like he wants to get a little more steam. He goes out to his carriage, out to his buggy, and he looks up, and somebody had painted his horse pink. Upset the man. He'd had a couple drinks, and he was very upset. He walked into the hall while they're dancing, walked up to the fiddler, took the bow out of the fiddler's hand, and said, somebody in here painted my horse pink. Who is it? The biggest man in the hall, about the size of Francis Eller back there, walked up, strolled up, and said, it was me. What about it? He says, well, I just want to tell you, it's dry. It's ready for the second coat. So I don't think jokes like that are really offensive, and it covers a span and whatever. Sometimes sick jokes do not go very well at all. And somebody gets up and does a sick joke like, have you heard who stopped smoking? Ted Bundy. That's sick. And I don't want to leave you with it. Should I leave? No. Speaking of sick, no. Here's a guy that's doing a great job today, and let's have a nice round of applause for Norm Cross.
Again, as so much of the stuff we use, it can be accredited to somebody, put it together, and I don't know oftentimes where they come from because somebody has done it, and we simply researched them or stole them, and basically that's what's the name of the game, because each one of you are 10,000 miles from the next guy, and if something that I do up in North Dakota and we've laughed at and had some fun with can be used, why, for heaven's sakes, use it. Again, these records that we're using and this kind of things, most of us have researched them off of somebody else's tape or off of somebody else's record. When Gene Trimmer was alive, he had a large collection of this kind of things. I don't know exactly where you can find that stuff. But just research them through other fellow callers and look for them, like I mentioned. The one place is the We Sing Silly Songs. The kids are doing a lot of them now, and a lot of the stuff that we laugh at and can do are fun. This little particular thing that I'm going to do now is just a little lip sync, and the credit would have to go, as far as I'm concerned, and the people in North Dakota know it well. It came from a gentleman by the name of Earl Park, was the first guy that we saw do it. And I'm sure Corky's sitting over there, and I'm sure he has probably done the fool thing. It's an old one that we did quite a few years ago, but I'll just put it on and do this little thing. be as much as you want to do on this. You can get yourself on the costume. You can get yourself ready all you want to, but you can also just simply have something like this laying on and pop them on when you're ready to go, and you got yourself a costume. I don't know. I've always said about the costuming, and that is that if you're going to act like a fool, it helps look a little bit like one, a little more like one. You put it there. And took my glasses off. Can't even see which one to start.
My wife, she's gonna let me. I don't know what I'll do. My wife, she's gonna let me. I don't know what I'll do. My wife, she's gonna let me. I don't know what I'll do. My wife, she's gonna let me. I don't know what I'll do. My wife, she's gonna let me. I don't know what I'll do. My wife, she's gonna let me. Yeah, she took her mother to work. Oh, boy. One thing scares me, he just might come back. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
You bet. Really hard on the stomach. But again, it's something you can do. Pick up one of those little things, play with a little while, and it's just kind of fun to do. Somebody want to take something else for a minute or two here? These guys are so eager and willing back here, you know. If you kill a little time, I'll do something else. Okay?
How long did it take you? You got a minute? We'll split you in thirds. Right down through here is a third over there. Can you say, oh boy? Louder. All right. And this other third is like y'all with this third here. La-di-da. Louder. And over here, you're the hot dammers. Well, there's a fire down at the dam. The dam got hot, so say, hot dam. All right. Darling, you can't love one. Darling, you can't love one. You can't love one and still have fun. Darling, you can't love one. Absolutely. I've never heard such a bad bunch of hot dammers. This goes all the way up. Are you ready? This goes all the way up to 11. And you get to 11, you can't think of anything to say 11, so you go back to 7. But in between each thing, and then you get them cutting up some hot dammers might be saying a lot of dying. Can you get the idea from that? Say yes. Darling, you can't love two. I know a good word. Darling, you can't. I hadn't done this one. Darling, you can't love two. Oh, that's clean. You can't. You can't love two and still be true. Oh, darling, you can't love two. All right. This goes all the way now. 3, 4, you know, count all the way. And there's really no punchline. It dies, yes. Thank you. But it's something to kind of get started with some night. You don't have to go to 11, but... Got a minute?
This one was what qualified me to be up here today. I guess John seen me do this one time, and he says, come and bring the one with the ones you got the hats. This one here, a lot of you have seen this one because it was on Gene Trimmer's tapes, and he said you can do it kind of any way you want. A couple people can do it. Well, I just went down the basement one day and dug out some old stuff and have done this and had a lot of fun with it. And you can do it, and you'll be surprised how much fun you have doing it yourself. I didn't get a chance to research. Does any of you know if Gene Trimmer's material is being sold by anybody? Stan is selling some of his books, I know. Mm-hmm.
What is missing is tape 3 and tape 9. And I was getting ready to ask if you or somebody did.
Have tape.
I'm willing to share everything that I have. I have the whole collection of tapes. I would be willing to share it.
Well, now that's an offer, gang, you can't beat. I'm telling you.
I'm also looking for tape 3 and 9.
I don't know which ones I got. I'd have to look and see. But we don't want to let that source of stuff get away. Yeah, could you give me your name, sir, and we'll get it on the tape? Sam Dunn from Dayton, Ohio. Okay. That's great. Now, that kind of thing is good. Now, there's the other things, and there's some classic stuff that's really wonderful stuff out there. It was mentioned on last year's tape, and I'll just mention it again because it's a little bit ribald type stuff, but the Seven Old Ladies is a wonderful thing to do. You can have lots of fun with it. It's very, very good. You can get yourself ready and do it in any form. Herb does a wonderful job on it, a cappella. If you get the record, you can do it. A lot of you have heard it, and you'll have to talk to each other about what it is actually like. There's other stuff around of that category, and that's just good fill-in stuff, and you can do it. Let's see, Clarice, while let's do just another skit and see how things are working out here. Just a little old story. Okay, let's do the bank skit. Clarice helps me out on these things sometimes, and this again is. Okay, this is a bank scene, and I'm the teller, and as the scene opens up, I'm standing there talking, and I'm saying, you know, this is really a wonderful country. People come to this country to live and with very little, and if by using their efforts and their talents, they can actually accumulate quite a lot of wealth. Now, just coming in the store here is this little old lady moved over here from Norway just quite a few years ago, and she started doing bringing money into deposits. She opened an account, and she has accumulated a tremendous amount of money in our bank. And well, here she is again. Well, Lena, by golly, Lena, you looks like you got some more money for us.
Yeah, I want to deposit.
Well, boy.
All that.
All of this.
All that.
Yeah. Well, Lena, you know, you really got a lot of money here. You must have really been hoarding.
Well, I hoard for some of it, but I scrub floors for most of it.
Now, that's a typical little story with punchline and shock value. Nobody expected my wife to say that. It's just a little bit like this, but it's one of the things that if you get a little shock value, and because the way you do these stories, a lot of things, the story isn't so super wonderful funny. Sometimes the punchline at the end isn't so funny. It's how you build the thing. The little thing we did about the dog. You know, there was about 4 punchlines in that thing. You know, when the dog said bark, and when he said roof, and when he said Ruth, there was all punches, you know. And with a little luck, you can get a pretty good little giggle out of each one of those. And then the final punch is unexpected, kind of cute, I think. So it's that kind of a way. Oh, my wife wants me to do one more, but I don't think I better. We're going to run out of time here. This one is actually the hardest lip sync that I do, and I again got this from the gentleman up in Canada, and I've never seen anybody else do it, and I don't have the proper props. That's quite a statement. And to do it, but I'll go ahead. I need a guitar to do this to make it the fun thing. And if any of you got a guitar in your pocket, would you please bring it right up here? We'll use it. And it's the hardest lip sync that I do because there's a little more words in it, as the one that Flip was doing had a lot of words, and you guys had that down real close. But like I say, I got this from Earl Parker, and I give him full credit. I don't know where he got the record. And you have to be a group of people of maybe almost this age group to appreciate it. The name of the skit that I call it's the Gene Autry skit. And so if you weren't about my age, you don't know who Gene Autry is. So I like to do this with a stool. I'm going to use now have a chair.
One day there were 4 fellas discussing their favorite movie stars, and they all had their particular favorites, just as you and I would. One of them picked Clark Gable. One of them picked Richard Widmark. One of them picked Tyrone Power. They come to the fourth little guy and they ask him, who's your favorite movie star?
I said, well, I'll tell you the truth, fellas. I'm not a connoisseur. I go to the movies, too, but I go to see one actor because that one actor is enough for me. Every time I see him in a picture, I'll tell you the truth, it takes me out my heart. Plain, it takes me out my heart. I saw that fellow the other day in a new picture. By the roots, it took me out the whole heart. His name is Gene Autry. You should have seen that picture, boy. Opened up the picture. Gene Autry is riding on a horse. You could tell from the rocks in the background that's dangerous country. Gene Autry ain't even got a gun. He's got a stick of chewing gum, and he's got a guitar. He sits on that horse and he sings to himself. I'm alone, like the lazy drifting tumbleweeds on road. I'm rolling night and day, never see my pay, but I'm alone. All the day, he gets off that horse, he sits down on a rock with that phony guitar, and he lets the horse nibble on the grass. 'Tis in the middle of the desert, but he finds grass. That horse eats 2 mouthfuls of grass, the horse doubles up and drops dead, because the Indians poisoned all that grass. But Gene Autry, he don't worry, he's sitting on the road. I'm a rolling, like the lazy drifting tumbleweeds I'm rolling. I'm rolling night and day, never see my pay, but I'm a rolling. All the day, in back of Gene Autry, unbeknownst to that poor cowboy, they got 6,000 Sioux Indians. And these Sioux Indians, they shooting on Gene Autry arrows. Not plain arrows like they shoot on that phony Roy Hodges, but they put a special poison on the arrows in case that they miss Gene. It's got to kill him anyway. But Gene Autry, don't worry, I'm alone. I'm alone. And to the right of Gene Autry, still unbeknownst to that poor boy, they got 12,000 Cherokee Indians. And these Cherokee Indians, they looking to scalp Gene Autry one hair at a time. But Gene Autry, well, I'm alone, and to the left is where they got the real danger. Boy, 38,000 Iragoosa Indians. And these Iragoosa Indians, they hate Gene Autry. I'll tell you how much the Iragoosa Indians hate Gene Autry. They hate him yet from another picture. I'm a rolling, like the lazy drifting tumbleweed.
All right, going to open this up to some questions and some talk, a little bit of general talk. It'd be kind of fun for a minute or two. We got a little bit of time left. Now, very little. Very little. But any questions, anything you want to ask? We did discuss the thing that I was hoping we could do, and that is a ways of possibly getting these things. It takes a little research, a little effort on your part on all the things that were done here today. There's a lot of after-party books. There's put out. They're on the market, and they've been around for a long, long time. And again, you might look at these stories in the after-party books and say, oh, that's an old one. That's been done many times. But don't forget, it's not been done by you. And when you do it, it's your skit, no matter if the material is 1,000 years old. And you can do anything you want with it. So actually get out there and entertain those dancers. Talk to them, you guys. Wind this thing up.
Thank you, folks, for being a good audience. Our time is really running out right now, and we hope you will take something back and have a little fun with it and enjoy using it and use it in good health. Here's Flippo.
Thank you. Enjoyed it, Norm. Jerry, thank you. Thank you all for coming. We hope you had some. Thank you.
Okay, give these. I guess it's talking. Yeah.